Hey, Jesus followers, welcome to Daily Bread. If you've been staying with us in Matthew, I want to encourage you. You just got a few days left to finish the book of Matthew, and we're really excited to get into the word today. Matthew 24 is where we're at, so let's get right into it. As Jesus was leaving the temple grounds, his disciples pointed out to him the various temple buildings. But he responded, "Do you see all these buildings? I tell you the truth. They will be completely demolished. Not one stone will be left on top of another." Later, Jesus sat on the Mount of Olives. His disciples came to him privately and said, "Tell us, when will all this happen? What sign will be the signal? What sign will signal your return and the end of the world?" And Jesus goes into a really long monologue here, but this is going to be helpful for us to understand. Verse 4. Jesus told them, "Don't let anyone mislead you, for many will come in my name claiming I am the Messiah. They will deceive many, and you will hear of wars and threats of wars, but don't panic. Yes, these things must take place, but the end won't follow immediately. Nation will go to war against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in many parts of the world, but all this is only the first of birth pains, more to come." So this is really, we've seen all these kinds of things in our day and age, but this is saying this is the first of the birth pains. There's more to come. Then it says, "Then you," talking about believers, "will be arrested, persecuted, killed. You'll be hated all over the world because you are my followers. And many will turn away from me and betray and hate each other." So I want to coach us here that following Jesus doesn't necessarily mean everything's rainbows and unicorns all the time. That it does say that we will be persecuted for our faith. And it says many will turn away. Don't be someone who turns away just because of hard things. We have to have a good understanding that we push through the hard stuff in order to gain Jesus in our lives. Verse 11. "And many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Sin will be rampant everywhere. The love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And the good news about the kingdom will be preached throughout the whole world so that all nations will hear it, and then the end will come." So notice that it says the gospel will be preached throughout the whole world, then the end will come. So that's how we know that the day is getting closer, is by us reaching more and more people. Verse 15, "The day is coming when you will see what Daniel the prophet spoke about, the sacrilegious object that causes desecration standing in the holy place." Reader, pay attention. "Then those in Judea must flee to the hills." So this is talking about when the day of judgment comes. It's saying a person on a deck of a roof must not go into the house to pack. A person out in the field must not even return to get a coat. How terrible it will be for a pregnant woman and nursing mothers in those days. And pray that your flight will not be in the winter or on the Sabbath. For there will be greater anguish than at any time than the world began. And it will never be so great again. In fact, unless that time of calamity is shortened, not a single person will survive. But it will be shortened for the sake of God's chosen ones. So this is saying in the day of judgment, it's going to be so terrible that you don't want to be somebody who is not walking with God, who does not have your salvation set in Jesus, because of the judgment will be so terrible. Verse 23. "Then if anyone tells you, 'Look, here's the Messiah,' or 'There he is,' don't believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will rise up and perform great signs and wonders so as to deceive, if possible, even God's chosen ones. See, I have warned you about this ahead of time." Verse 26. "So if someone tells you, 'Look, the Messiah is out in the desert,' don't bother to go and look. Or 'Look, he's hiding here,' don't believe it. For as the lightning flashes in the east and shines to the west, so it will be when the Son of Man comes." So it'll be like that. "Just as the gathering of vultures shows there is a carcass nearby, so these signs indicate the end is near." So we know that God is near because a lot of these signs are happening in today's day and age. "Immediately after the anguish of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will give no light, the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. And then, at last, the sign that the Son of Man is coming will appear in the heavens. And there will be deep mourning amongst all the peoples of the earth, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. and he will send out his angels with a mighty blast of trumpet. And they will gather his chosen ones from all over the world, from the farthest ends of the earth and heaven. So believers in Jesus who are still on the earth, Jesus is going to gather them up. And it says, now learn a lesson from the fig tree. When its branches bud and its leaves begin to sprout, you know the summer is near. In the same way, when you see all these things, you can know the return is very near, right at the door. I tell you, this generation will not pass from the scene until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will disappear, but my words will never disappear. What an amazing verse. Heaven and earth will disappear, but my words will never disappear. Jesus is saying, guys, and we see all these signs playing out now and today. He's saying Jesus is near. Don't play around with your life. Don't come at life casually. You have to know Jesus is coming soon. And think about this. If you had 24 hours left to live your life, you knew Jesus was coming and you'd be gone, what would you do with those 24 hours? I bet, for me, I would not sleep. I would start walking the streets and telling every person I knew about Jesus. That should coach us on how we should live our lives on a daily basis, that we need to have a sense of urgency that Jesus is coming soon. Verse 36. However, no one knows the day or the hour when these things will happen. Jesus even says right here, not even the angels in heaven or the Son himself knows. Only the Father knows. When the Son of Man returns, it will be like in Noah's day. In the days before the flood, the people were enjoying banquets and parties and weddings right up to the time that Noah entered the boat. People didn't realize what was going to happen until the flood came and swept them all away. That is the way it will be when the Son of Man comes. In other words, people aren't going to be ready for the coming of Jesus. You're not going to get like a warning sign like, hey, I'm coming in an hour. Make sure to get your life right with me. No, we have to be ready at all times. It says 2 men will be working in the field. One will be taken, the other will be left. 2 women will be grinding flour at the mill. One will be taken, the other left. So you too must keep watch, for you don't know what day your Lord is coming. Understand this, if a homeowner knew exactly when a burglar was coming, he would keep watch and not permit his house to be broken into. You must also be ready all the time, for the Son of Man will come when is least expected. A faithful, sensible servant is one to whom the master can give the full responsibility of managing his other household servants and feeding them. If the master returns and finds that servant has done a good job, there will be a reward. I tell you the truth, the master will put that servant in charge of all that he owns. But what if the servant is evil and thinks, my master won't be back for a while? And he begins beating the other servants and partying and getting drunk. The master will return unannounced and unexpected, and he will cut the servant to pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites. In that place, there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So this is saying, guys, in this life, we have to be ready for Jesus to come at any time, at any moment. You cannot be treating it like, my teenage years, I'll have fun. Or through college, I'll have fun, I'll live my own life, and then I'll give my life to Jesus. No, the Bible says that there are going to be people who are lost because they live their life that way. We have to be sober and be vigilant and understand that Jesus could come at any moment. And it also, at the end of this, says that we have to be good stewards with the life that Jesus gave us. We have to be intentional before him to not just live righteously, but also to take care of the job that he has given us to perform here on earth, to love other people, to live out our purpose, and to follow his leading and his commandment. And then it says, anybody who doesn't live that way, who just casts off Jesus, who just lives however they want, it says, very end, they will, in that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth, talking about hell, talking about people who are so distraught, so under great punishment because they did not say yes to Jesus. They did not receive the free gift of righteousness that Jesus paid for them for. And I just want to encourage you to live life with Jesus, not with a sense of stress, but a sense of urgency, knowing that any day Jesus could come. We have to live our lives intentionally. Well, again, my name is Luke. I'm the high school pastor. We're so glad you joined us for Daily Bread today. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and stay up to date with everything that's going on. We love you guys. God bless you.